Okay. Do you want to check if it's up on actual YouTube?
Yep.
Because it says publishing YouTube broadcast, but it says it's only 60%.
Yep. So it's live right now.
Okay.
Now go back to your Discord.
All right.
Sorry, it's a little delayed for me, but
Can you hear us both though?
I'm about to check. Yep. So it's live right now. Now go back to your Discord. All right. Yeah, I can hear myself.
Woo! Okay, so I'm going to hang up on...
Sorry, it's a little delayed for me, but can you hear us both? Dude, we're doing it.
We did it. We have live streamed. We are now officially in the digital age. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the main thing. I can see, oh, 2 people are watching. Welcome to live stream
Probably
number 1,
us.
guys. Market watch number 1. Yeah, dude. So did you watch the market at all today?
So I kind of watched like the midday. I hopped on to take a look because I had an actual thing from Ethereum pop up. It said it was up like 10% or something,
Okay.
and I was like, dope. And then so I looked to be like, oh, well, if that's up, let's see if the market's actually up. Nope, market was not up. So I think my like Bank of America was down, Carnival was down. I know Lululemon was down. Nova tanked today. Sucks. Quite a few things were down. It didn't look like it was the best day in the world. I heard Tesla had a good earnings though.
Yeah. So, dude, did you okay, I didn't watch Tesla at all. Like I clicked into it for a little bit.
Mhm.
It looked pretty, it didn't look bad. Let me check. I think when I looked at it did fine. But dude, when I first got on this morning, everything was up.
No, yeah. When I woke up this morning, it was like, oh wow, the market doesn't care at all about anything going on, I guess. And then midway through the day, I think people were like, oh, I guess nothing is happening here. And then Netflix tanked on. I guess I don't know if they tanked or not, but I know they didn't get nearly the subscriber count they thought they were going to get.
Oh, dude, I heard they missed it by like a million. They were supposed to hit like 3.2 and they hit 2.2. And then, but their revenue was up, which I found kind of interesting because so they haven't been able to make movies. They missed their count by like a million. How was the revenue up a million over expected?
I don't know. See that's the thing is, who's setting the expectations, and like, I guess in my mind, do they count everybody who has like a discount, everybody has a deal, student deals versus people who have normal pay? Who, I don't know, like how all that actually gets calculated.
Well, so whoever's calculating the expected, right? Their expected earnings, their expected revenue has to be factoring in what their expected um, new subscriptions is going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm interested to find out how they missed it, how they missed the subscriptions. They miscalculated them or they missed the forecast by a million, yet they still beat the revenue. It's like isn't a big portion of your revenue like new subscriptions?
New subscribers and continued subscribers. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they.
That's
just
me.
haven't
That's
been
like me
spending
saying
money
like
cleanly and just been.
that's
looking
like me
blindly.
saying that's fair. Yeah, their operating cost is much down. I guess I'm looking at the way of like, hey,
You're just
I
looking at how
told
much money's coming in, though, right?
yeah.
Just solely.
So I guess yeah, their operating costs probably dropped significantly, which is fair. They're not really doing much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I thought that was interesting though. And then, did you see the thing with Google today?
The DOJ thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. I didn't really take any time to read into it because I was like, you know what? Everything is being blamed for being a monopoly of stuff. I think that's what it was about. I'm not entirely sure. Did you read into it?
No, I didn't read into it at all.
Okay, I that's what my guess is. I'm gonna say because they've gone after Apple, they've gone after Amazon. Now, obviously, the next one, Google. Like,
Okay.
I think they've gone after the top tech companies in the past month and a half, 2 months. I mean, they got nothing else to do.
I'm interested to see what happens to tech if we go back into another lockdown. Because like tech blew up the last time, and I'm interested to see if it's inflated, like Amazon. Amazon's clearly not like a it's not going down anytime soon, but I'm interested to see if it's inflated in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like all that stuff during COVID. Everyone bet on Amazon, right? They're saying, "Oh, Amazon is going through the roof right now because so many people are ordering."
Yeah,
Well, I'm interested if that's an inflated price because of that.
I mean that's what I think in my mind of just the overall market. I mean, if you just look at Tesla for example, it was $426 today. I mean, it's 436 or something now. But if you compare that to the beginning of the year and then the last year, it's still up 700, 800% almost. And that's massively inflated. If you look at Apple, even though Apple's at 116 or 118 right now, it's still up massively in the past year. And that recovery from where COVID was to the all time high was just insanity. It was just straight up essentially. All these companies just boom went straight up to the sky and brought the S&P 500 all the way back up and the Dow all the way back up, where I don't know if the rest of the market has really performed as well as tech has. Tech has generally just carried
Yeah.
everything.
Dude, honestly, I think, you know what? If I could make a bet on tech right now, it'd be against. I love Apple. Praise the Apple Lords. Because I bought an Apple, and since then, all I do is just keep buying more and more
Apple, Apple,
Apple.
Apple, Apple.
However, if I can make a bet, it would be Apple misses their next earnings. And hear my reason out, because I don't think a lot of people are thrilled about this 12 because of the packaging
Really, I
thing.
thought they had more. I read something today that they have more um, people buying the 12 than they bought the 11 and the 11 Pro. I thought there was good news from Apple, but I mean, again, that could have just been me looking at it for 3 seconds and saying, "Oh yeah, good news," but not really reading deep into it.
I mean, I literally haven't read it at all, but I just know from my own personal experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm still trying to price out if I want the 12 or the 11, and if I do get the 12, do I want to spend the extra $7 a month and get the mini, or I mean, get the Pro,
Mm.
or do I want to get the mini?
I don't know. Yeah, this is what I
So
read right here. First day iPhone 12 pre-orders surpassed last year's iPhone 11 pre-orders, and it
yeah,
said,
I guess more people too. So I guess another thing to think about that I guess I wasn't really thinking is there's got to be more people watching it this year, watching the actual announcement because they're sitting at, you know what I mean? I don't
"Yeah,
know. I feel like this one
yeah,
definitely more people had to be watching.
yeah." I mean, I don't know if maybe it's the price point that opens up to people, but this says that last year it was 800,000 units in the first 24 hours of pre-orders, and that's for the iPhone 11. So 800,000. Now this year is 2 million, so it's more than doubled it in the same amount of time. So yeah, I have no
Oh
idea.
my god, that's a lot, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe that little bit of
You know what
stimulus money
sucks,
got
dude?
people spending.
You know what sucks, dude?
Mm.
So I searched the pre-order night. I guess I just wasn't paying attention. I searched all night looking for the pre-order for the mini. So the pre-order day came out, and that morning I spent like 2 hours. I was like, why can't I pre-order this mini? I would
Mm.
have pre-ordered right there. I was like, why can't I pre-order this thing? I spent so long. My dumbass came to find out that it wasn't even going to be released. The mini wasn't even released until November 6th is the
Oh, so it's
pre-order day.
after.
Yeah.
I think you're in the minority, man. this is all saying that most people don't want the iPhone Mini.
Really? I wonder why. Wonder why.
So in China specifically, there it doesn't support two SIM cards, and there a lot of the people like to switch
Travel
between,
and stuff.
yeah, and they have to switch between carriers, and so
Yeah.
that's a big I don't know if I want that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't need that. That would have been nice, like when I was over in Bali.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome. Or like when I was over in Europe, that would have been super cool. But I don't really care about that now.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who do. I don't know. I don't
Yeah, I
really
mean,
care. I've got the 11 Pro, and I'm like, I don't need a new one for the next like 3 generations.
That was another thing. So I looked because originally my plan, I've been waiting for months to get the new iPhone. I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait out. I'm gonna just get the iPhone 11 once the 12 comes out. And I started doing the price comparison. It's gonna be pretty relative
Mm-hmm.
to price. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what I do. I usually do, and I say the same thing to myself. Like when I got the 11 Pro, is I had the 7 Plus before, so I had 7 Plus, and then waited for the 8, waited for the 10, 10 XR SE, and then when the 11 came out, I was like, okay, it's been like 4 generations. I'll buy the newest one, and then I'll wait until 13 or 14 come out, whatever. They always bounce around the numbers. So I was like, I'll wait. So I'll have it a couple years. It'll be paid off, and I'll have it like a year where it's paid off, and then it will really start to slow down. But the 7 Plus never slowed down for me. It was still stayed. I felt like it stayed just as fast, and it stayed. The battery life lasted just as long. Never had any problems with it.
My 8 sucks. I think
Really?
dies every 10 minutes. Yeah.
Really, I saw something that most people. I think like the 7 Plus was like the most liked ever iPhone. And I was like, it makes sense. It worked.
I can see that.
Yeah, it worked fantastic for me.
Now, if you could, so after today, kind of going back to the investment side of things, after looking at the market right now, if you were going to make a portfolio of 5 stocks, what would those things be?
I don't know. I didn't look at more than 5 stocks today.
No, just okay. Going off of like your perspective going forward in the market, like looking at S&P 500, hearing what's happening.
Well, I don't know. I'd still like to see what happens with. I still just want to see what happens with the election, because who knows if we're even going to have this election that actually goes and follows through. Like for me, I'm not sitting there saying, "Oh, I would want to open this brand new portfolio and all this stuff," with no idea of how anything's going to react for the next 4 years, right? Like, if it's Biden, it's going to go one way for 4 years. If it's Trump, it's going to go another way for 4 years, and we'll see which stocks benefit from that. But at a point right now, I'm like, I don't think anyone would be wise to be making full-on portfolio decisions where they're like, this is my long term for the next 10 years. When if you wait,
No, because
a
you
month or
adjust,
2
you
months.
rebalance, you adjust and rebalance your portfolio every quarter. You're supposed to.
Yeah, but I
so I
wouldn't
guess
wanna-
I'm saying going in. We're going into quarter 4.
Mm.
For quarter 4, you got to rebalance your portfolio. What are you doing?
I don't know, man. I've been keeping everything about the same. The only things that I sold were tech because of the concern we were just talking about earlier. I was like, I don't know if it's bubble, but I like to hold on to my little bit of profits. And so when I got them, I was like, all right, I will take that. I'm much happier having money than not having money. Putting it elsewhere. I know we talked about like entertainment space. We talked about that all the time, entertainment and travel. So kind of dabbling there. I'm still debating the stupid Dave and Buster's talked about yesterday. But looking at a few things I saw, I can't remember for the life of me. It's somewhere in my search history. Which company just raised their dividend? I think they raised it to like 74 cents or something. And so I was looking at that. I like to see that. I like to see companies that are like, all right, we're getting back to our dividends and we're getting back to that stuff. And that's what I'm waiting for Carnival to do eventually, hopefully next year, is see some sort of.
I think that's going to be a driver for a lot. Like, I guess if I was a CFO or a CEO right now, I would say especially for someone like Carnival, right? What can we do to get people in, right? What can we get to how can we get people to invest in our company right now? And I guess now is the time I'd say to give dividends.
No,
You
I
hire
think
the dividend.
dividends bad time for them. Right, they don't have any cash because you want to do the.
But you're gonna get more cash. You're gonna get more cash on hand, right? So if I gain, you know, a million people more to invest in me because I'm giving out a dividend, what do I care about? You know, it's pennies on the dollar at that point. So I'm giving away pennies to get dollars.
See, I think that's the thing is I don't think people would see that as a positive right now. I think people would be like, "Oh, a dividend," would see it as that for a day, but then they would realize, wait, they don't have cash to spend on that. They don't have. There's no profits coming in for them to reinvest or send out as a dividend. I mean, they can't pay out a dividend if they don't have money coming in.
But that's the reason people are interested in. So you got to look at it at this way, right? Mm-hmm. If my company is having a bad year, but next year is expected to be much greater because of that, my stock price is down. You could sell it to the investors. A lot of investors right now know, hey, Carnival is going to do better next year. Right, so a lot of investors are already jumping in on it.
That's the thing is that they don't know. That's the concern and why there wouldn't be.
I would say the majority investor believes that. Let's look it up right now.
I don't think so. I don't think most people think cruise lines. I think most people are thinking it's going to be 2-3 years.
No, we'll look it up.
Like, go ahead. In my mind, I'm not seeing a lot of people saying cruise lines are the buy right now. I think most people are probably saying it's a little bit too early to speculate because there's no way to know. I mean, of course, we want things to open up next year, but at the same time, we need airlines to open up for people to be taking cruises because people usually fly around to where they're going to go take a cruise. If they're not flying, they're not taking cruises. And if there's no real push to travel. I guess in my mind, I see that as negatives and things that the cruise lines have to overcome and things that airlines have to overcome. And so I'm looking for them to do certain things to overcome it. So then once all that happens and they've established that, I'm throwing money in while it's cheap right now, and then I can collect on that later. Is that a risk? Yes. May it take longer than something else? Yeah, that's the risk I'm taking when doing that. But in my mind, I see value there. But I don't think the dividend comes for a while because they just need to be making some sort of money before they're paying out anything else.
So they're sitting at a 2.9 rating, right? And that's on a 1 being a strong buy and a 5 being a sell. Mm-hmm. So they're just in a 3 being a hold. So they're just under a hold rating. So they're definitely closer. There's definitely more people that have hope in it than don't. And that's why I say there's more people that have hope in it, and you could get more money to, I guess, start. Right. Hey, so look at it this way, right? We talk about baseball all the time and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm a baseball team and I do really, really bad one year, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to make a bunch of cuts, look at all my players and go, how am I going to rebuild this team, right? I mean, I'm not like a baseball coach, but like, so at that point I say, how am I going to rebuild this team? So then I use rebuild years, right? Well, throughout those years, if somebody's funding and giving me a lot more money to do it, my rebuilding years are going to be a lot quicker than if I have less money, right? Because I have more money to build in the right team. Yeah, it's going to take me I still have to consider I got to bring this team together and make them bond and make the team work together. But I could get the right players to make the team work. So that's the way I look at it now. Is now their expenditures are low. Expenditures are damn near nothing because they don't have all these ships out and nothing, right? Their expenditures are low. So if they get the right money, they could use this to really power back. They could start acquiring different cruise lines. They could acquire different travel companies. So with the right money, they could come back stronger than they went in, because now things in their industry are a lot cheaper. So I think with something like dividends, that could get more people in to buy, right? So people go, okay, cool, they got a strong buy, they got a strong dividend, they're a great company. Just due to a bad year, a pandemic, their stock tanked. So I think that's when like someone like myself would say, you know what? Because I did. I said, and I know you did too. You said, yeah, I'm gonna buy. Now, am I dumping my whole life savings in? No, but I can promise you, and I can say this because I did do it. I started investing more in dividend stocks, that I would probably actually invest a little bit more if there was a dividend in there. And that's when you start getting pennies on the dollar. Like, yeah, they got to give me pennies back every quarter, but they're getting dollars from me every quarter. So what is that? And they could use that to actually come back stronger, because everything in their industry is cheaper right now, and they could start acquiring, which in the most recent years has been really expensive for them to do. Like, I would say in recent years, if you wanted to go buy a cruise line, dude, you had to be like just thriving. But now it's like the poor cruise lines are like, yeah, how do we get rid of this crap?
Yeah,
But cruise lines. See what I mean? I don't know. I totally see you.
I see it as the similar to thing to what you're talking about. If you're taking the baseball route, is the baseball team doesn't recover the next year. It's not like they go from they were the worst and they bought 4 guys and now they're the best team. So I'm like, in my mind, I see it as, well, they know that they have to, it's going to take a few years to rebuild. And so in my mind, the same thing with the stock price and the stock and the company. It takes a couple of years to rebuild, which means you need to have some sort of money in reserves. So you don't want to take the money from your earnings and pay it back out to people when you want that in reserves, because you don't know. You could say we're raising our dividend, and then people go, what the hell, you're wasting all the reserves that you have, and I'm just selling all my stuff because I'm done with that, because I'm going to lose more than I'm going to make in my dividend. So why would I hold on to this? And I think
that's a good point.
I think that in my mind, I think that would be what would happen at this point, because there's not enough positive outlook. Yeah, if there was a positive outlook, and we'd say, hey, in 4 months, all the cruises are going to start again. Right now, we haven't had that. We've had October is the deadline. Now that Carnival has said, sure, they're cutting off the no sail in October 30th, but we're not going to start sailing, and we're going to push it out till November. They've already pushed it out a couple times, and so in a lot of places they're saying, well, we'll push out some of these until February. And as an investor, it's like, that's not a good sign if you keep saying you're pushing out, and then we keep getting more news. COVID's not stopping. I mean, it's made a higher.
So I think that was a super good point. First off, on saying like that could scare investors away to selling off, because like, I mean, I'm not saying either one is right or wrong. I'm just saying it's definitely an option. But that's a great for, I guess. I mean, there's one person watching, and I'm assuming that's probably, that's me. But I don't know if that counts as me. But anyway, that's a great point for people to learn from, is like, hey, here, that's a super good point for people to learn from, is like, hey, here's the positives, right? Like I said, is companies are cheaper so they could acquire and come back stronger. And then you use devil's advocate and said, or the people that are in now get scared, sell off, so they end up coming out short because more people. So I guess more people would have to sell off because they're scared than the people that bought in. It's kind of the gamble they'd be playing there. Is they'd say, hey, for every person we lose because of this, we need a quarter of people to come back, a quarter of a person to come back, if that makes sense. So that's a super good point. I like that point. I guess I thought of it, but I didn't really think of it too much, because the way I was looking at it is like, for every person they lose, because they're only giving pennies out on the dollar that they're getting, if not, maybe not even that, literally like half a penny for the dollar that they're getting. But if they lose, 10 people and they only get a quarter of a person back, or a quarter of a person, it might not have made sense.
Yeah, because then they lost.
That's fair.
And then they paid out, and then they're like, oh shoot, we lost twice.
The way I was looking at it though is like, if we're kind of using that baseball. So your team does terrible. You have nothing, right? You get funds in. You get a lot more funds in because people say, you know what, you did bad, but we're going to invest in you because you're going to help us out, right? That's a dividend.
You're getting cheap prospects. Right.
So you go out and buy four of the best players. So the first 5 games, you're not going to see that at all, right? The first 5 games, or the first 4 games, so the first 4 quarters, right? Quarter 1, 2, and 3, and 4, you're not going to see that at all, right? Because they haven't found their way. But the idea is that the 5th quarter out, the 6th quarter out, they start improving, and from there, that's when profits start to pick up. They have their dividend, and profits are going to skyrocket because they have the 4 best players, and now they figured out how to make them mesh. So that's the kind of the perspective, but I totally see that. I think that's a super good point. Is like, yeah, they could. People could say, you know what? If you're going to waste our money, I guess I'm more of like a dividend, at least because of Corona and because of the pandemic. I'm becoming a lot more, at least right now. I'm not now. A year down the road, I'm going to have a complete mindset. I'm going to be back to growth. But for right now, during this pandemic, I'm saying, you know what? I don't care if the stock in my portfolio, fluctuates a percent or two. I'll take the percent or two right now when some things are tanking, 20% in a week. Some things are like skyrocketing 50%, all right now, because things are so volatile. I'll take the 1 or 2% loss every like their fluctuation loss, like 1% up, 1% down, 2% up, 2% down. I'll take that for the dividend that's going to put me ahead in the long run, because like we've seen with Tesla, like we've seen with Apple, like JP Morgan, we've seen these stocks do massive fluctuations. And right now, at least, I'm looking at dividends. I'm saying, cool, what's going to keep steady but pay me out a dividend so that I'm at least breaking, 1-2%. And then once the market starts hitting that growth stage again, or once the economy does, that's when I'll be like, okay, what are my companies that are coming back? I still have bets, on like Carnival. I have them on a lot of marijuana stocks right now. So a lot of marijuana stocks. I have a few airlines. I'm a big proponent of Southwest. I love Southwest. That's why when we started talking about it the other day about what the CEO did, I've held Southwest for the last 4 years in like my long-term portfolio, because I've flown Southwest since I was a little kid, and only ever flown Southwest because just like great service and it's quality price. So like I bought a ton of Southwest just because it's cheaper, But so those are my bets, but mainly like the majority of my money is going towards things that are going to start paying out a dividend and keep paying out that dividend for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think one of the things I was just, as you were talking, I just got kind of stuck on the baseball thing of similar to, as you were talking about the quarters, like each quarter, each part of the year, you're getting better and better and better, right? I think the thing is that it always takes investors a long time to catch on to that, because look at the Padres this year. Played fantastic the whole year, made it to the playoffs, but played fantastic the whole half of the year, yet nobody was paying attention to him, right? Until it started getting to the end, and we got more Tatis, we got more Machado, we got more these big names, right, that were making all this noise. Then people started going, oh man, and then they really started funneling in and being fans, and all this big fan base. And I think the same thing happens with stocks, is that you get this, the company's doing well, and the stock price is slowly moving up and grinding up, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh wait, look at this company that's doing great because they announced one thing, and then everyone's like,
NVIDIA.
Oh my God. Yeah,
NVIDIA, bro.
Exactly.
NVIDIA for years. I remember 2015, 2016, I was looking at NVIDIA and I went, this is a company with opportunity. And everybody was day trading it. I was day trading it a little bit. I know you and I had that conversation. I was day trading it a little bit. Everyone's like, oh, let's just day trade it because it has huge fluctuations. And it's doing exactly what like we see Tesla doing now, except for at a much lower price. And I was like, dude, this is going to be a killer stock. So I bought into it at, gosh, I want to say it was like $60, $70. And then it shot up to 180 real quick. And I said, you know what? I'm out. And then look at it now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
NVIDIA though, dude, people do that though. It's people like to hop on. So what is it's like, it's kind of like a bandwagon in a way.
It is. Oh, it's
Stocks
100%.
work super similar to bandwagons. Is people say, okay, it is doing good, but it's like, if you could, that's why I like to say, like the marijuana stocks, I told you what I'm doing with them now is I'm getting the top 5 or 6 and I'm heavily weighting. Like I almost have a portfolio just for marijuana stocks or like cannabis stocks. That's like one of them, right? And I'm heavily weighting, like the top 5 of them, and the amount that's going in there, I'm kind of heavily weighting. And then the lower ones that are kind of like quote unquote emerging cannabis companies, I have less, but I'm still putting into them. And all I need is one to pay out. One can pay out and the others can do, and one could pay out, 3 or 4 could just do okay, and the rest could literally go to 0, and I would still come out on top. And that's why I think it's important not to bandwagon, honestly. And too many people try to bandwagon. They don't just like believe like what they want, You like Apple, don't hop on the bandwagon, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
find
A lot of
Apple.
a lot of people like to wait until they see something already happen, and then they go, oh, look at that, They're constantly looking for something, the easy money, right? They're looking for, oh, it's up 40%.
They're looking for what everyone else is doing.
They're like, oh, it went up 40%. It's going to go up 50% more, and you start to all of a sudden get these expanded numbers, and it's like, oh, it's at $100, but the analysts say it's going to be 165, and so they're like, it's going to be there tomorrow, and then they buy it, only to be buying it at the very top, and it drops back down because there's no way it's going to always be at the top, right? It has to fluctuate up and down. It's got to consolidate. So all these people buy it at the 105 and go, yeah, it went up $5. It's going to keep going, and then it goes to 94, and they go, oh my god, I lost my money, sell it, and then a month later it's back above 110, right?
Well, that's the same. I hate how into this Gary Vee gets. I hate how into this he gets, but it's the same thing as like, dude, when we were in elementary school, when we were like kindergarten, first grade, I wore Champion hoodies. When they were like $2, dude, I wore Champion hoodies, just plain hoodies. Like, the same thing I do now. I just wear plain t-shirts. I wear Champion hoodies and shorts every day with plain shoes, usually like Converse, right? People are like, bro, are you like cheap or like, is your family poor? Like, no. It's simple. It's nice. I like it. Now, what is everyone like? Champion hoodies are like $100.
Yep. Yeah,
and that's all. That's literally all it works.
Influencers got it, and then suddenly it just became impossible to get. Look at freaking cranberry juice. You can't get cranberry juice anywhere. It's like,
dude, I couldn't believe it.
Everyone just wants cranberry juice. Ugh.
Did you see that TikTok? Is that you talking about the TikTok dude? The guy playing Fleetwood Mac on the skateboard.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I saw it for the first time yesterday. And I was like, here Nate and I are.
Bro?
We had this podcast for like 2 months, haven't blown up, and we're actually talking about something real. This guy is on a fucking skateboard listening to Fleetwood Mac, drinking a like cranberry juice, and he gets a free car and sponsored by.
All right, you know what's funny? You're gonna hate this.
And he's a normal dude.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? You're actually gonna hate this. Is he has been saying a bunch of stuff because people are asking him like, "What are you doing? Why are you on TikTok? Are you this old guy?" Yada yada yada, right? And he said, "Gary Vee told me to get on TikTok," and he got on TikTok because of Gary Vee. And he said, "Gary Vee, shout out to Gary." And so Gary Vee actually made a post about him, or like screen recorded the stuff he was saying, and was like, "Bro, told you." And like literally, the only reason he did it was because Gary Vee said to do it. So it was to go on TikTok and make videos, and it will work. And he did it, and it worked. And I'm like, good for him. But at the same time, like, I know you have that Gary Vee a little bit of hate in there, so I just am like,
okay. I don't hate Gary Vee. I don't hate him because I see the dude's like me. Me and you, right? You and I are out here trying to start, 3, 4 different businesses, but we're consistent with it every single day. Mm. We don't push it on our friends. We don't push it on the people around us. But you and I, every single day, right? The art page, I post on that thing every single day, and reach out. Today I got my first dude to get an in-store. Like, he's going to put his shit in-store because of me, bro. Like,
nice, dude.
every single day.
Mhm.
We're doing this every single day. We're not blowing up, right? We're not doing anything yet, right? But then it's like, so I get that part about Gary Vee. I'm like, yes, you do super, like, you work your ass off. I get it. But I don't say I like every single stock. Every day I just say, oh, this stock's going up, and then the next day say it's going down, and then go back 3 years later and be like, bro, I told you it's going down. And it's like, you said the day before it was going up, so shut the fuck up.
But that's the beauty of, that's even something he talks about, is being wrong. And he's like, yeah, I'm wrong all the time, and I change my mind all the time, and I recognize that. But because he makes all of the content in the world and is constantly putting stuff out, he's then able to take it and say, look, I was right. Right? So that's the same thing we're doing. I mean, we're putting all this content out. We could use this and be like, remember that time we
like
said this? Remember that
5
time
years from now?
Remember that time we said buy Carnival? And oh, look what happened. Like, look at all those different things we can do.
I'm like, bro, buy
Nate,
cannabis.
In 5 years, take a look and see if Carnival or cannabis has gone up. If it hasn't,
you know what?
Well, if it hasn't, we just ignore this episode.
I think I would be one of the first people on Gary Vee, or like first normal people to want to talk to Gary Vee, not because he's famous, like not for anything other than like to get in his fucking head, to get into this dude's head.
I don't think you're gonna be able to get in that guy's head, dude.
Because like, no, not get in his head, like not like get in his head, like, bro, I'm scared, but like to just like understand the dude, understand where he comes from.
But he talks about it every day.
No.
He has books about it. He talks about it every day, dude.
To just sit there and talk to him, like you and I are, to have a conversation with Gary Vee. I would be the first person that's not like a massive fan.
Bro, you watch his coffee talks? It's literally this.
Not really. I don't really watch him too much.
That's his coffee. He goes on with random people who are like me and you. And he just will sit there and they just talk to him and he just talks to them, and then they'll like occasionally ask him like business advice, and he'll be like, oh yeah, this is like what you should do, and they'll be like, this is what I'm doing, like I'm having problems here, or I'm struggling here, or I'm doing this here, and then he just talks to them about stuff that he does, and like, so he's giving people.
Dude, actually, okay, I have seen that. I have seen a few of them, and here's my problem with every single one of them. Every single one that I've seen, bro, you're just not working hard enough. You're not working hard enough.
I don't agree with that.
At least most of the ones I've seen, actually, I'm not gonna lie, every one of them that I've seen is him being like, bro, no, you're just not posting enough content. It's like, I mean, I guess, here, I'll give him this. Most of the people he talks to are just clueless as fuck when it comes to running a business. They're like, wait, you mean I need to be posting 4 pieces of content a day? Like, yeah, no shit, bro. I could have told you that. But then Gary Vee tells him, he's like, oh my God, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. It's like, okay, dipshit. Like, you want to be an influencer? No shit, you should post some more. Like, that's I guess what he tells them. And I can't hate on him for this. I can't hate on him for this, because as they speak, and each one that I've heard, I've come up with solutions for him, like as I'm sitting there. Because every person he talks to is just like clueless as fuck. And you're just like,
I think part of the thing is that he talks to everybody, and he says it every time too, that he's like, I am not coming up with anything new. I'm telling you the same things that existed since the beginning.
Yeah, and I guess that's my point.
He's like, I'm not trying to take credit for anything I'm saying. I'm saying there's 4 things you can do. You can work hard, you can study, you can go out and meet people and do the thing you want to do. And like,
I guess that's the point I'm getting.
Yeah,
that's the point I'm getting at. It's just people get so thrilled to hear it from him, because they're like, oh my God.
Oh, Gary Vee told me.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's right. I'm going to be a millionaire. He just told me. That's just like the point that I think is so funny. It's like, people need reassurance from the people that have made it. Like, it's kind of, I got to give my parents credit for this. My parents told me so much shit, and then I just found it out on my own.
Yeah.
And I thought they were wrong the whole time. I was like, no.
So same.
And then I'd go find out myself, or like my friend would tell me, and then I'd like believe into my friend and like find out it's true. But like while my parents were telling me, I was just like, shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
it's the same thing, and I think it's so funny. I mean, I guess it's not just Gary Vee fans. I think it's like anybody that's like a business fan. Like, part of me thinks like business is so saturated with so many different types of people that it's just like it's interesting to see everybody that's going for it. It's
Yeah.
so interesting, dude.
Like everybody's has something that they're doing. They're all
Side,
trying
it's
to do
this. It's the
something.
generation of side hustles, bro.
Yep. Yep. All right, dude. We're getting deep into this. This is like a
Dude, this is 40. This is like 45 minutes. I'm stoked on it though. I'm stoked
Same.
on. We actually had a listener on here for a while. I was
an
watching
actual
it.
one.
Yeah, and we
Shout
had
out
it
you
because
for a
it
sec.
said two. It said two watching for a while. So, actually, honestly, I could not even be this other one. I don't know
I have no
because
idea.
I'm pulling up the analytics now. But this is cool. I'm stoked to do this. It gets us good at like. We didn't plan any of this. We didn't like.
No, yeah, that's the
Said
best
any-
part. How do we get off of it though?
Oh, so go back to your here. I can
I'm
share
on
my.
Streamlabs. Do I just end
Here,
stream? Oh yeah, I'll
I'm
just
sorry.
end the stream. All right, guys.
I just ended it now for us.
Oh, you already did? Oh,
On-
sweet.